is conceived to run for 10 days, except, of course, there's a major intervention along the line. On the first day of the protest, some states, mostly in the north, recorded massive destruction on both private and public property, prompting some governors to impose curfews. In Kano State, an ICT center that is supposed to provide training for youths in the city was burnt down and looted. Violence was also reported in Yobe and Kaduna states. In all, at least 4 deaths were recorded on the first day of the protest on Thursday, including one policeman who was killed in Kaduna. Now, in his briefing on the protest now, the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun said events in major cities showed a high level of looting by hoodlums, even in places where there were court orders placing restrictions, forcing officers to use tear gas in some cases to disperse the crowd. Take a listen to some of what he said.
Those who were in the forefront of promoting the idea of the protest were not around to lead it. Hoodlums have been let loose on innocent Nigerians and their hard-earned businesses and property looted and destroyed. The motive of the rioters was basically two: loot and destroy both private and government property. The destruction so far has been mind-boggling. There has been destruction in Kano, Borno, Yobe, Kaduna, Gombe, Bauchi, FCT, Abuja, Niger, and Jigawa. Police stations have been destroyed. There have been attempts to take over government houses, looting of government infrastructures. Several warehouses and shops so far have been looted and in several instances completely destroyed. In spite of the refusal of the protesters, for instance in FCT, to adhere to a court order requesting that protests in Abuja should be at the National Stadium, they trooped into the streets, and yet the police provided security for them. At no point did we breach their fundamental rights, even as they breached court orders. In places like FCT, Kaduna, Kano, and Gombe, among others, we recorded incidents of unprovoked attacks on our security personnel, where one policeman has been reported murdered and others seriously injured. We wish to advise law-abiding citizens of Nigeria to heed and not dismiss warnings given by the police and other security agencies, which were based on credible and actionable security intelligence. In the light of the current situation, the Nigerian Police Force has placed all units on red alert. Our officers are fully mobilized and prepared to respond swiftly and decisively to any further threats to public safety and order.
Officers are fully mobilized and prepared to respond swiftly to and decisively to any threats now to public safety and order. Now, the second day of the protest was relatively peaceful and devoid of the violence we saw on the first day. Now, here are some of the sound bites from the protesters talking about their demands.
So right here in this protest ground, I want to let you know the reason why we are protesting. This is the reason. Hunger is the reason why we are protesting. Yes. This is rice. It's sold for 15,000 naira now. This gari is sold for 5,000 naira now. That is 20,000. This tomato per pint like this is 12,000. That is 32,000. This beans is 15,000. That's 47,000. So now this one can be consumed in 3 days. Yes. This one can be consumed in 2 days. This one can be consumed in 2 days also. This is beans. It can be consumed in 2 days as well. So now imagine spending 47,000 naira and it cannot last for 1 week. How much do you think that we can earn that will enable us to buy it for a whole 1 month for people who are working? You get me? And now this is why even this one, people used to use 50 naira. They use 50 naira to buy gari, use 50 naira to buy groundnuts, and they'll be satisfied. They'll be satisfied. But now you cannot even see 50 naira on. You cannot even see 100 naira on. The groundnut, you can't see 100 naira on. So now people who were collecting 45,000, 40,000, then when this particular one was 2,000, they are still collecting the same money, and this thing is 15,000. The people are still collecting the same money. When this one was 400, yes, and now it's 5,000, they are still collecting the same price. These people who were buying this thing for 800 naira, 1,000, this thing now is 12,000. They are still collecting the same salary. Yes. This thing was 2,000 something. Yeah, two plus. 2,000 plus. Yes. Now it's 15,000.
Our demands remain the same. One, reversal of the removal of petrol subsidy. Two, the reversal of the policy to float the naira. Three, reversal of the increase in electricity tariff. Four, reversal of all the increased fees in all our universities, polytechnics, monotechnics, colleges of education, and all other higher institutions of learning. Our demand still remains fixing of the Nigerian refineries. Nigeria is the only country in the world, only oil producing country in the world that depends 100% on importation for its local consumption. Even Angola, that we fought for their independence, that got independence just few decades ago, are producing some of their locally consumed fuel by themselves. Why Nigeria? So these are some of our demands that we want the government to listen to. Nigerians are very hungry and they are very angry.
We want the government to reverse all anti-people policies it has taken so far, pre-May 29. The removal of fuel subsidy has done nothing but to reduce the lives of citizens to nothing. It has affected all sectors of the economy. We want things as simple as basic education, free water for all. The minimum wage has just been passed to 70,000, but we say that it is a pittance, it is a poverty wage, considering the inflation in this country. 70,000 cannot buy anything in the market. Government has to have conscience. They have to also show solidarity with the common people. When you ask people to tighten their belt, you should also tighten your belt at the top. Don't tell us why we cry that you are enjoying, you are eating. Why young Nigerians are crying. Why young Nigerians are going under. Don't tell us that you are eating. Why our farmlands are overrun by bandits, we can no longer see food.
So let's discuss all of this further now. I'm now being joined on the program by two gentlemen. Farouk Bibi Farouk, of course, he's a political affairs analyst and also a politician. He joins us via Zoom from Abuja. Also joining us via Skype is legal practitioner and political affairs analyst Libros Oshoma. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Dr. Farouk. You look at what we have seen so far with the protests. You look at the violence, especially in the north of the country, especially that incident in Kano State, and then the one in Kaduna State. What would be your take on the protest?
Well, I think the protest is becoming very clearly demarcated between those who are, to some extent, elitist, vanguard leaders with a lot of stake, and then the lumpen proletariat who have been left to hang around without jobs, without education, without any means of good livelihood. And that has always been the Nigerian mix, and the protests are showing that clearly. It is also showing clearly the disparity in poverty between what is in the far north and what is found in some parts of Nigeria. Sokoto, for example, has a poverty rate of more than 90.2%. Zamfara is in 80-something. Katsina is in 80-something. You go to Jigawa, Borno, those places have a poverty percentage rate of about 80+% of their people are in abject poverty. Of course, that is different from what you find in places like probably Anambra, Rivers. Anambra has 24 point something. Rivers has something around 30. The poorest place that is compared to those areas actually in the north is Bayelsa, which is in its 80s, but there is actually relative peace so far in Bayelsa. But poverty is a determinant because hunger is an instigator of this protest.
But
Hunger
then
is
you
a
look at
common
you look at
denominator among the
let's look at
masses.
that
So
the
that,
Kano State
yeah.
incident, for instance. That attack, I mean, the facility that was attacked there, they didn't go there to take food. They went there to steal, I mean, to loot
Yes,
the
looting
place.
is
And
not
what did they
necessary.
take? They took
Looting is not
they took
necessarily about food.
computers, they took
It
furniture and all of that.
could go
What has
after
that
you.
got to do with hunger?
Yeah, but it's still looting because they don't have any idea. They are completely alienated from the importance of anything public or private. If you have a supermarket, they can't go into that supermarket. If you have a bank, they don't operate the bank. If you have a computer center, they have no business with computer centers. And incidentally, actually, for Kano, to be fair and clear, you know, when demolitions took place in Kano at the beginning of this administration a year ago, a lot
And
of
you can
these
see
young
you can
people
see
came
the
out
video.
and
You can
looted,
see this
were
video, for
encouraged
instance.
by politicians to do the looting. So the culture of looting has found itself very much in Kano. And another aspect is with Kano, there is an insinuation that political involvement of political parties, because the opposition in Kano arranged young people to celebrate an appointment into a federal government by one of the key persons, according to insinuations I had. And so it is possible that that must have been used to encourage young people to come and make the protest as bad as possible for the state because of their relationship with the federal government. That is a possibility.
Libros, let me get your take on this. You look at the picture we saw from Kano, and there you can see the video. I mean, we just saw, look at this, for instance, attack now on traffic lights there. And, you know, you look at all of this and some of the things we saw. The question is, what has this got to do with, you know, hunger? Because this protest is really about it.
Digi, you see, when a protest happens like this, when people talk about, oh, peaceful protest, we're going to march peacefully, it's going to be peaceful, I tell people you can only speak for yourself. Because the way you are protesting about the activities or lack of governance, there are people also who are protesting against you as one of the oppressors because you look